Okay, first breakdown of set 18, Caitlyn Hunter reroll. I'm going to give you the secret sauce to make this comp work for you, whether you're playing in the beta right now when this video originally drops, or it's set 18, officially released. You're watching this video for the reroll comp. A lot can change in about less than a week, so this video may be outdated by then. If it isn't, give this comp a try. Caitlyn reroll right now is broken. So the three main 2 costs you need there are Caitlyn, Scuttle, and Sejuani. These are the ones that you're going to want to 3-star. So you got to power level to 6, take an Econ Augment early, and get those 3-star 2 costs. Scuttle or Sejuani is going to be your main tank. It all depends on who you 3-star first. There isn't much of a difference there. So one is a magic tank, one is an attack tank. I believe the attack tank is Scuttle, if I'm not mistaken. Still learning all of the traits as well. Yeah, Scuttle is the attack tank, Sejuani is the magic tank. That could vary items a little bit, but your standard ones are going to be Stone Plate, Spirit Visage, and Warmogs, and you can just slap it on either, depending on who you 3-star first. Now, Caitlyn, of course, is the primary damage dealer of this build. She's the one that you're going to want to prio 3-starring. So if you're double contested, triple contested, it might not be worth going this build. So just make sure you have an uncontested, partial contested route to this reroll comp with good starting Econ Augments. Now, Caitlyn's items are Rageblade, Krakens, and Krakens. It can vary depending on the items you get. You can slam other AD items, but these are the best in slot, similar to Kindred in set 17 here. So, the reason why you're playing this comp is you need Caitlyn early. If you get 1 or 2 copies of Caitlyn right away, start of the game, that's when you can go with this comp, and it just snowballs from there. So I would recommend only playing this comp if you have a Caitlyn or 2 copies of Caitlyn early, maybe a Rakan, another Juggernaut up front to kind of stabilize a bit, and then 1 main item on Caitlyn. The reason why I say that is you need to hopefully win some of the early rounds with this comp because it is going to expend a lot of resources on rerolling, and you are taking that Econ Augment first, which limits you from an item augment or a combat augment on 2-1, which could propel you later in the game. Now, if you have an early item on Caitlyn, either a Krakens or Rageblade, I would slam that immediately. Even if you don't have a Caitlyn, you can go this build if you get that main item, slam it on a different carry there that you have, and just use that for the early game until you find your Caitlyn. Main thing is you get an early item on Caitlyn, or you get an early item for Caitlyn to go this build. Once you go that build, stop spending money, or once you get that item, stop spending money, save your gold, wait, power level to level 6. If you lose streak, you lose streak. If you win streak, you win streak. However, you want to save your gold, get to level 6, and then just start re-rolling. Hopefully your Econ Augment that you took on 2-1 can expedite that re-roll for you and get you to level 6 earlier, or get you extra money earlier. But whatever the case may be, when you're level 6, you roll down and you prioritize Scuttle Crab, Sejuani, and Caitlyn. Once you 3-star the Caitlyn and Scuttle Crab, hopefully you 3-starred all 3, but if you only 3-star 2, depending on what stage you're in the game, so if you're still in stage 4, you can maybe greed and roll a little bit more to get all three 2 costs 3-starred. But if you're approaching stage 5 and you just 3-starred 2 of them, that's when you need to lock in and say, I don't need the third one, let's just power level to level 7, so you can toss in your Tristana or your Sivir, depending on who you don't have in at the moment. Or if you didn't have a Sivir, because obviously you're level 6, you roll at 7 for that Sivir. Now the final board for this, as I'm talking about these champs, I didn't even bring the final board to you guys yet, is Caitlyn, Sivir, and Tristana on the back line. Again, like I just mentioned, either Tristana or Sivir is going to be your level 7 addition to the board. And then you're going to have Vi, Rakan, Sejuani, and Scuttle as your Juggernauts. You can, early on, my recommendation would be to play Caitlyn along with 4 Juggernaut at level 5 while you're essentially slow leveling to get to 6. This Juggernaut up front allows Caitlyn to do damage. Hopefully by then you have at least 2 items on Caitlyn, a Krakens and a Rageblade, and some tank items made, hopefully a Stone Plate. That would be priority number 1. You do need a lot of cloaks in this build, so just be wary of that. And then once you have the 4 Juggernaut up front, you can use a Yorick there. I believe Yorick's a Juggernaut up front in the early game. And then you just transition the board once you're level 6 and level 7 to that final board of Scuttle, Sejuani, Rakan, Vi, Tristana, Sivir, and Caitlyn. That's the final board. That's all you need. You only need to go level 7. If you do end up going level 8, you could toss in a 5 cost. You can toss in an additional Hunter, I believe, for the 4 stack if you find something like Ashe or Cinderling. But of course, if you're going level 8, hopefully you're going to find an Ashe. Again, 5 costs, maybe stretching the luck a little bit, greeting for a 5 cost, but you can toss that in if you go 8. Chances are you're going to be level 7 most of the time with this build, but that still works. Now, what you're going to want to do and what you're going to see in this video in the background is I end up taking a combat augment on my second augment to propel the build. So again, you're going to take, when you get to augments, what you think is best for your game at that moment. So if you need another econ augment, it's extremely greedy, but you can take another econ augment in the second augment phase just to make sure you get the 3-star 2 costs. Again, it's not ideally recommended because you're going to need good items in this build. You need best in slot essentially, or just about best in slot, or you can take combat augments so that when you reach stage 5 and you've rolled at 6 the entire game, you don't essentially feel as if you fell below tempo by not taking an econ, or by not taking a combat augment and using all your augment slots on econ, or the first 2 on econ. So what your goal is going to be is to take that combat augment second, unless you truly need it. And then on your third augment, you can make a choice there. Depends how you are on items, how you are on combat and tempo. If you're winning rounds, not winning rounds, from there you can take another combat augment or an item augment to give you those extra item boosts, either for attack items on Sivir, AD items on Sivir, or more tank items on the other 3-star 2 cost tank, either Sejuani or Scuttle. Both work. So for augments, it is kind of flexible there, but the most important thing is it is a reroll comp. You need tempo. You need to be able to 3-star your 2 costs, so that econ augment on the first augment is massively ideal. Don't discount the comp if you don't hit an econ augment. Again, it's going to vary game to game, but most of the time you will need that econ augment on the first 2-1 augment selection. Okay, next up, we're going to talk blessings, primal blessings for this comp. So it's one of the newest things they added to set 18 for the primal trait. In this case, you will have primal activated in this build, and because of that, you get to choose one of the 4 blessings. Now, it's the blessing of the turtle, of the tiger, of the phoenix, and the bear. Each one does a different thing. I'm going to read through all of them, as you may not be familiar with all 4, and then we're going to go over the best options for this build. So the blessing of the turtle specifically is your team heals for a percentage of their max health every 4 seconds. I'm not going to specify the exact percentages. At the time of this video, it's 4%. It can change because we're still in beta at the moment, so they can update this. I'm not going to put the percentages in. I'll just advise of what exactly it does. So the turtle, essentially, you heal. For the bear, primal damage executes enemy units when they drop below a percentage of the health. At the time, it's 12%. So again, bear is execute. Blessing of the tiger, after 6 seconds of combat, again, it can change. Primal champions gain a percentage attack speed, and your entire team gains attack speed. So primal champions get more attack speed, your team gets some attack speed every certain amount of combat seconds. The blessing of the phoenix, it grants an item component every 15 at the moment primal unit takedowns, up to a maximum of 4 components. So phoenix is items, tiger is attack speed, bear is execute under a certain amount of health, and turtle is heal. So depending on certain things, you can choose any of these 4. It's completely totally up to you. They're all pretty good, and they all help dependent on your augments, on your board state, stuff like that. The execute is really good if you have items on your Sivir. It is basically a free gold collector essentially without the gold. In addition to that, if you need a beefier frontline, you can take the turtle option. If you don't have the best frontline items, tank items, and you just need them to survive long enough for your Caitlyn to ramp, you can take turtle. For tiger, with the attack speed, again, you're going to have rage blade, so this may not be the best option to take, especially since you just have essentially 1-2 damage dealers in the back line, and the remainder is just juggernauts holding the line up front. If you want to take it, if you for some reason low rolled and didn't get a Rage Blade at all, and you have 3 items on Caitlyn that don't include a Rage Blade, you could definitely take this option. And last but not least, Phoenix with the item options. If your augment choices are Econ, Combat, Econ Combat, and then you are forced to take another Econ or something like that, and you're starving for items, and it's already a low item game or something along those lines, you can definitely take this. The 15 primal unit takedowns, if you have Sivir 2-starred or if you have Sivir with items, will go by really quickly, and you'll be able to just spam 4 item components for your build. Those are all 4 of the primal blessings. Each of them work well dependent on your game state and board state. So remember, there may be some, after this set goes live, there may be some that are a lot stronger than others, but pick the one based on your board state, based on the augments that you chose and the need that you need right now in the game. Now, just a quick mention about Wisps. So the new set mechanic in set 18 is Wisps. There's always going to be a Wisp that you can afford in your shop every so often. Because this is a reroll comp, you're only going to want to take Wisps that are going to benefit you in terms of either econ thresholds, interest thresholds, or stuff that you will use in ensuring you hit the two cost 3 stars. So if it's something like a temporary potions or temporary bramble vest, something like that early, when you don't care if you really win or lose the rounds, don't take the Wisp. In addition to that, because there's a champion that gets hidden behind the Wisp, what you're going to want to do is not roll for, if you're, let's say, level 6 with above 50 gold, don't start your roll down until the round starts. Allow for the Wisp if you're not going to buy it. Let's say it's a temporary Bramble's Vest Wisp, and you're on a 3 loss streak, so you don't really care if you win, because at this point you're just trying to get your 3-star 2 costs. Don't buy the Wisp, and don't roll for your 2 costs prior to the round starting. Let the round start. That's when the Wisp is going to disappear. Once that Wisp disappears, it'll reveal the champion underneath it. It could be a Caitlyn, it could be a Scuttle, it could be a Sejuani, it could be whatever. Doesn't mean you have to buy it, just means ensure you get the maximum value from that specific roll prior to rolling for that Wisp, essentially. So let it disappear, see what champion's under it, and then start your roll down if you're above 50 gold at level 6. Alright, and that is the Caitlyn Hunter reroll build. You're going to have Juggernaut in there, Hunter, Faye, and Primal as your end board. Let me know how it works for you in the comments below. We're going to check out the rest of my gameplay here. So when I got word of this build through Twitter, I took a look at it, went to the different avenues on how to play the build to best optimize it, the best items for this video to provide it to you guys in a very contextualized, easy to digest format. So hopefully that helped in that regard when you were watching this video. So let's just break down the gameplay here. As you can see, as you've been watching, I did speed it up a little bit just for the sake of time. But for the gameplay itself, you could see that I did get an early Caitlyn, but I still just forced the build. I wanted to give it a try, see how it worked in the public beta in a aspect where I just absolutely forced it. I lucked out and I wasn't contested at all. I went prior to this game, I played a game where I was going to try it out. There was a 3-way contest for Caitlyn, so I didn't even bother. This is the game that immediately followed, and I made sure I completely forced Caitlyn. And this is how it turned out. Stage 5 is where you want to win the games. I had Soul Awakening Augment, I believe it's called, and I was still lost majority of stage 5 rounds. So again, this comp does have a lot to be desired in regards to winning out rather than top 4. And just excuse the zoom in, you know I have to get the thumbnails for the videos anyway. But either way, as you can see in this gameplay specifically, stage 5, I've lost 3 so far. 1-1, I believe I lose this one as well. But I did have enough health to propel me through stage 5 so that I could secure a top 4. My recommendation would be, the difference here is my first augment was not econ. I harp in this video how important it is to have that econ augment for a reroll build early, and this just goes to show you why. Because I didn't have that early econ, I couldn't stabilize quick enough. I couldn't be at my strongest with the 3 stars at stage 4. Instead, I ended up just making and squeezing through a top 4 with this full build with a great combat augment. This result could have been completely different if I had that early econ augment. Starting with an econ augment, propelling that reroll build, getting my 3-star 2 cost even 3 rounds earlier, and I would have been a lot stronger going into stage 5, and it would have let me choose a way better augment as my 3rd augment. I took booster pack here to get the extra funds to ensure I hit those 3 stars because it was running so late where I didn't have the 3 stars that I needed, and as you can tell, we end up losing because of it. Either way, if you give this build a try, let me know how it works for you in the comments below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Join me on the journey here for set 18. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to set 18. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.